Okay, we're going to get started in a minute. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All Gurus, Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Let me adjust my mic and speaker.
Okay, let me share my screen so we can discuss from there. Let me start. Okay, you can see my screen.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we'll offer prayers and we can get started. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Sarakaya Chekshurunritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. Okay, sorry. I'm happy that many devotees are reading Bhagavad Gita regularly, and then several of you, about 20 of you already answered, about 19 of you already answered the multiple choice questions also, at least the part one. So part two, I'll send it out tomorrow or day after, so you can those who completed the part one can also complete the part two. So hopefully you are relishing the Bhagavad Gita given by Srila Prabhupada with his commentary. So today we'll discuss the chapter 1 overview of Bhagavad Gita. So the idea is not, we cannot cover everything in the chapter, but we'll cover some of the essential essences, the overview, because we are reading every day two verses. The main purpose of this session is because every day we are reading two verses. So we may not be able to capture the full flow sometimes, as if we read 1 hour and one shot like that. So this is to give a flow of the chapter, to give the key essences of the chapter like that. Not necessarily every important point in the chapter. That will be exhaustive session. Yeah, that is one main purpose of this session. Second main purpose of the session is, while when we're reading like this, we may miss the essential point of the whole section. What is the essential point of the whole section that we need to capture? And what is the essential point we can utilize in our own life as a practical application that we may miss? So I'm just highlighting that from Sri Prabhupada purport and our different devotees literatures that they have given us as a commentary of Bhagavad Gita. So I will also share with you these slides after the session in the group, so you can refer them also. So you don't have to struggle to make lots of notes. Yeah, but you can make important points that you want to apply in your life still with you. Yeah, but I'll send you the slides to you by adding one additional slide that tells you references. What are some important references for you if you want to study deeply Bhagavad Gita also. Now going on to the chapter. This chapter title is Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. So another title given by Acharyas is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. That means like as if like Arjuna is in a depression like that. That is the title of the chapter. It's a nice chapter. It is introductory chapter for the whole of Bhagavad Gita. So we'll see how it's such a valuable lessons we can learn from it, and then see some of the key messages that are coming from Bhagavad Gita from this section. So we'll go through this picture. This is coming from one of the study guides from Bhagavad Gita. So essentially, uh, as you know, there are about 40 plus verses in Bhagavad Gita. The two broad sections. First section is the introduction. We're calling it section 1 here. Second section is section 2. We're calling it here. Within the first section, initial verses are talking about preparation of war, what Duryodhana is speaking to Dronacharya in preparation for the war, like that. We'll discuss in details of those chapter section. And then next section is talking about what are the indications and signs that show that Pandavas are going to win the war, like that. And then the last section, subsection here, shows how Krishna is so merciful to his devotees. Krishna is a Bhakta Vatsala. He loves his devotees like that. So that's what we're going to see in the subsection C. And then uh, basically, the initial section is about preparation for war, showing how when Krishna is on somebody's side, they will win the war. They'll win anything like that. That is one main point. Second main point is how Krishna loves his devotees. Krishna loves to serve his devotees as the Bhakta Vatsala feature. There are two broad points. Purposefully, some of the core messages I'll repeat at least a couple of times in the session so that we remember it. That is the purpose of repeating it, okay? Now, going to the section 2. Section 2 is talking about several reasons Arjuna gives to Krishna why he thinks it's not a good idea to fight. He has very wonderful logical reasons. Sometimes some of the reasons look spiritual also. So he gives 4 of the reasons in this chapter, and fifth one we'll see it in the next chapter, which is indecision. That I'm not sure, I cannot decide whether to fight or not, like that. So these are the 4 broad reasons he's talking about. One is Arjuna's compassion, that how he's feeling compassion not only for the people on his side of the fighting in the battle, also people on the other side of the battle also. And then next reason is about his enjoyment. He's saying, even if I win the war, is there really enjoyment? How can I enjoy? I cannot share my happiness with anybody else. Everybody will be dead. What can I enjoy with? Like that he's feeling. And third reason he talks about is how he thinks actually this is a sinful act. Killing his own family members and relatives is a sinful act. So he doesn't want to get sinful reactions by doing this activity of fighting now. And then fourth reason he talks about is actually by killing so many elderly people, actually elderly people are there to guide us in the society and the families, because only elders know what are the family traditions we should do, follow nicely. Then that will actually help us to elevate in our consciousness, and that is how we can have peace in the society. But if we kill all the elders, then how can we expect family traditions to continue? So I don't want to be the cause of destruction of the family traditions. Like that he is talking about. This is an overall quick summary of the whole chapter now in few minutes only. Now we'll go into some of the details of the sections next. After we go into some of the details of the sections, then we'll talk about some of the practical applications of this Bhagavad Gita knowledge of chapter 1 in our life. Yeah, that way we can share with others how Bhagavad Gita is very practical for us, how it helps in our life, like that. As we proceed into the next chapters, we'll see a lot more practical applications directly. Now, within the first subsection, you notice the Bhagavad Gita starts with a question from Dhritarashtra. So just to, in case somebody is not aware of the background, how Bhagavad Gita starts, just to give some background. So long ago, there used to be 2 cousin brothers. They're born to 2 brothers, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. I'm covering very brief context from Mahabharata. So Dhritarashtra and Pandu were 2 brothers. One of them is elder. Dhritarashtra was elder, but he was blind, so he did not get to rule the kingdom. Whereas his younger brother Pandu got to rule the kingdom for some time. Then Pandu had to die early for some reasons. I'm not going into all those reasons. Then because of that, Pandu's children, sons who are commonly called as Pandavas, came under the shelter of Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra, even though he was a blind king, he sat on the throne of the king, but everybody else helped to rule the kingdom, like that. So now Dhritarashtra became attached to the kingdom. In fact, it's understood, Dhritarashtra word itself, the meaning Dhrita means one who holds on, and Rashtra means kingdom. So that means one who holds on to the kingdom, one who is an attached king. That's what his name itself represents, Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya, "Oh Sanjaya, please tell me, what did my sons Kauravas and what did the sons of Pandavas do when they assembled at the holy place Kurukshetra?" Like that he's asking. Why is he asking Sanjaya? How come Sanjaya knows this knowledge? Because Sanjaya, even though he was sitting with Dhritarashtra, he was given divine vision by his spiritual master Vyasadeva. So that way, Sanjay sitting here in the palace could see like a remote telecast. He could see what is happening in the battlefield. That is why Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjay to tell him what he's seeing in the what is happening in the battlefield like that. Now remember, Vyasadeva asked Dhritarashtra, "Would you like to see? Shall I give you the vision?" He said, "No, no. I know. I might have to see horrible things happening to my children also. I don't want vision." That's why Vyasadeva gave the vision to Sanjay to see. And then with that vision, then finally Sanjay started to describe Bhagavad Gita, what is happening in the battlefield, what Krishna spoke to Arjuna in the battlefield before the battle started. He is explaining. So now, one of the key things to understand from this verse that Dhritarashtra is speaking is his partiality towards his own sons. That's why he's saying sons of Pandu, and separating them out. That's one aspect. Second aspect is he was filled with fear whether his sons will win or not. He was filled with doubts whether his sons will win or not, whether his sons will get kingdom or not. He was so attached to his kingdom. So that's why he's thinking, he first of all, he wanted to make sure, he was so desirous that his sons get the kingdom, not Pandavas, number one. Number two, he was doubtful that his sons will become victorious. Why? Many reasons for that. One of the reason is, from the childhood, Pandavas always were very powerful. They always defeated the Kauravas in many ways. And Pandavas were always pious. And they also, he was also understood because this war is happening in a holy place, Kurukshetra. Then he was fearful that maybe his sons will make a compromise to Pandavas and say, "Oh, we don't need to fight. We'll give you half the kingdom." But Dhritarashtra was so attached, even if sons wants to give, sons wants to become peaceful, he doesn't want that reality to happen. He wants what to happen and his sons to win and get the complete kingdom, not half the kingdom. Such attachment he has for the kingdom. Not only that, he was also hopeful that maybe because they are all assembled at the holy place, Pandavas are pious people, maybe they'll say, "Oh, we don't want any kingdom. You enjoy the kingdom. We don't want to cause any bloodshed." Like that, they will become pious people. Their mind will change. Like that is hoping Dhritarashtra. That's what is implied with this verse. Now, how come a holy book like Bhagavad Gita is starting with the words of such a person like Dhritarashtra, who's so attached, we just heard? One of the reasons is for us to learn that such an attached person, attached king like Dhritarashtra, when he heard the whole Bhagavad Gita through Sanjaya, whatever Krishna told Arjuna, he heard everything from Sanjaya. But still his heart did not change. His heart did not transform. Still, he did not realize that Krishna is God. He did not realize the purpose of life. So, similarly, when we hold on to our attachments, then even if we hear lots of scriptures, including Bhagavad Gita full knowledge, then we may not be able to get the full benefit. So, we need to watch out for our attachments and be prepared and be prayerful to Krishna. Please help me to understand this knowledge, to apply this knowledge in my life practically. Like that, we can pray to Krishna. That's the purpose of starting of Bhagavad Gita, the verse with the Dhritarashtra, so that we don't emulate a bad example, understanding Dhritarashtra, so we don't also act in so attached way like that. Let me go to the next slide. So now, the next set of verses are where Duryodhana is going to his teacher, spiritual teacher, martial arts teacher, Dronacharya, and speaking bunch of things. He's like a king, acting like a king now, but he's going to the commander, Dronacharya. So now, all these things, what he's talking, are showing, number one, he has a fear that he has inside, number one. Number two, the diplomacy he's using to act and also to speak in the battlefield like that. Those are the two things we can learn from this section, that Duryodhana is fearful and Duryodhana is acting with diplomacy. Okay. So now why was he fearful, and how can we see with that is diplomatic? We can see with these specific things that happen, that are discussed in these specific verses. First is, he was acting like a king. So he can say, commander, come to me. But he goes personally to go to Dronacharya and ask him, because of seriousness of situation, he's going personally. When you go personally, for example, CEO of a company comes to us personally, then we understand the matter is so serious. I need to listen carefully. I need to act carefully, whatever he says, like that, right? Similarly, here Duryodhana is using the tactics of politics, going to the commander personally to impress upon him the seriousness of situation. Number one. Number two is pointing out Drona's mistakes. What was Drona's mistake? Dronacharya was a wonderful Brahmana. One of the beautiful quality of Brahmana is being liberal in nature. That means they don't consider their selfishness. In this case, Dronacharya and Drupada were a childhood friends in the school. But when they grew up, they had a fight between Dronacharya and Drupada. I'm not going to all the specific details. But the purpose of this session is to share wonderful lessons and principles and to get an overview of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So then, when they had a fight, actually, Drupada did did austerities and penances to get one son who can kill Dronacharya. That son name was Drushtadumna. Actually, Dronacharya already knew that this person, Drushtadumna, is born just to kill me. But still, as a duty of a Brahmana, he did not deny instruction to him. He accepted him as a disciple and told him military secrets also. That indirectly Duryodhana is pointing out to him. How does he point out? He says, see, Pandava's army, how is so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple. And he doesn't give name. He says, son of Drupada, like that. So he's diplomatic in this way. So he's saying, your intelligent disciple expertly arranged the army. How could he expertly arrange the army? Because you told him all the secrets. See, you're not a good person. You told all the secrets to him, like that he's saying. Now, another thing he's saying actually is, when he's using the words son of Drupada, he's inciting anger in him. Because Drupada and Dronacharya had fight before. So that's why he's using diplomacy like that in speech. And then he mentions great heroes equal to Arjuna and Bhima, like that. When he's talking about comparison of the army of Pandavas and Kauravas, he first of all says, oh, Pandavas have great fighters like Arjuna and Bhima. Because that is showing his fear for them. Because he knows how powerful they are. And then he compares the rest of the Pandavas, many Pandava warriors, to Arjuna and Bhima. Because he knows Arjuna and Bhima's power. That's why he's comparing with them. That's again showing the fearfulness that he has. Then he says, when he's telling about heroes on his side, he says, there are many heroes we have. They're ready to lay down the lives for me, like that he says. What does it mean? He has a fear that they will die anyway, like that. And then he praises Bhishma. Why? Because he was very confident that Bhishma will fight with him. And Bhishma is very experienced general. So he will win the battle if Bhishma gives full support and not become any lenient towards Arjuna and Pandavas, like that. That's why he's appreciating Bhima, praising Bhishma, like that. Then after that, he thinks, oh, I'm praising Bhishma so much, but there's so many other great warriors on my side. What will they think? Or they might feel bad that I'm only appreciating Bhishma. Then he says to everybody, oh, everyone, Bhishma is very old. So you all need to stay at your respective positions and protect, so that you give sufficient protection to Bhishma. Like that, he encourages them also. So this is how Duryodhana is showing his diplomacy while hiding his inner fear after seeing the Pandavas army, like that. That's what we can see from this set of verses. Now, in the next set of verses, we actually see how Sanjaya, remember, uh, Sanjay understood that his master Dhritarashtra is curious, want to make sure his sons win the battle. So he's tactfully, is not directly telling, your sons will not win battle, Pandavas will the battle, is not telling directly like that. Instead, is tactfully informing him that your hopes against hope are really hopeless for plans to win. Your sons will not win the battlefield because there are so many indications and so many signs are there. Listen up, I'll tell you like that. So it gives bunch of signs in this section of how Pandavas are going to win. One of the main important principle he says is Krishna is personally present with Pandavas. So that's why his presence confirms victory because he's personally present as charioteer who is running the chariot of Arjuna. And then Krishna is addressed as Rishikesha. That means he directly controls senses of a pure devotee like Arjuna. That means Arjuna will win the battle, like that is trying to indicate. And the sign of victory is when wherever Krishna is there, Krishna's uh, Krishna's wife, goddess of fortune, is personally present. And wherever goddess of fortune is there, fortune is always there. That means all good fortune is guaranteed for them. And then he's saying Kurukshetra is a holy place that will have good influence on the Pandavas because they're already pious people. And on Arjuna's flag, Hanuman is there. And Hanuman was there who helped Lord Rama in victory in his battle in Treta Yuga. So now also Hanuman on Arjuna's flag is helping Arjuna to win battle. Not only that, the conch shell that Bhishma blew is a symbol of Vishnu. That Vishnu means victory. And similarly, when Pandavas blew the conch shells, especially Krishna and Arjuna's conch shells, it is described as Divya Shenko, transcendental conch shells. So transcendental conch shells, they are extraordinary conch shells. That's how is also indicating the victory towards Pandavas. Another thing is Bhishma's conch shell he blew to pacify Duryodhana. That means he's telling Duryodhana symbolically by blowing conch shell that actually Vishnu wherever is there, they will win, number one. But I want to give joy to you because I will not give up. I'll fight my best as long as I'm in the battlefield like that. Another sign of victory is the chariot that Arjuna is fighting the battle on is given by Agni Dev, fire god. And that chariot is so special that it is capable of conquering all directions it is described. That's how he's describing that victory is guaranteed for them. And then he says, when Pandavas blew the conch shells, it shattered the hearts of Kauravas. Whereas when Kauravas blew the conch shells, nothing happened to Pandavas. Why? Because Pandavas are very confident on protection from Krishna because they took shelter of Krishna. This is an important lesson for us. When we take shelter of Supreme Lord, then we have nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity that might come in us. That is one of the benefit of taking up spirituality, taking up shelter of God, cultivating shelter of God like that. So the main lesson from this section for us is the Lord's protection. Devotees who surrender to Lord's protection are assured of victory, regardless of all the material odds. What is being indicated here, material odds? Kaurava's army was very big compared to Pandava's army. But still, Pandavas emerged victorious because they took shelter of the Lord. Lord offered all protection to them. So that is the main lesson we can learn from this section. So we need to take shelter of the Lord to be assured of victory and no fear in all circumstances like that. Now going to the next section. This is another beautiful section where Krishna's nature towards his devotees, Krishna's attitude towards devotees, is Krishna's sweet, loving relationship with his devotees is being revealed here in this section as the Bhakta Vatsala. That means somebody who's so merciful to his devotees like that. So in this section, actually Krishna is introduced. Generally, in a mundane movie, Hero is introduced with lot of pomp and show. Wow, hero comes, camera goes close up to the hero, and hero is introduced some very royal way, for example, like that. So here, Krishna is introduced as a chariot driver to Arjuna. Can you imagine? Chariot driver is a servant of the person who is on the chariot. Uh, the whoever is the warrior who is driving the chariot for. So more than that is described in the battlefield uh, when Arjuna has to tell Krishna to go left because Arjuna's both the arms are busy in fighting. He has to kick Krishna on the left hand side so that Krishna can go on the left side. Arjuna has to kick on the right side so that Krishna has to take the chariot to right side. That is the menial position of a chariot driver. We cannot even imagine. But Krishna did not hesitate to take such a position of a serving his loving devotee, his loving pure devotee Arjuna, like that. That's so Bhagavad Gita introduces Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, as the intimate servant of his devotee. And Arjuna requests Krishna to take him to the, orders him to Krishna to take him to the middle of the battlefield. And just because Krishna is taking up the menial position of a servant of his devotee, doesn't mean his position has come down from the Supreme Lord to become a servant. He always remains Achyuta, infallible Lord. That's what is being shown here in this section. The Achyuta word is introduced in this section also. So, devotee is always eager to serve the Lord, and Lord is more eager to serve his devotee because Lord wants to be actually in subservient position to his devotee, like that. That's what we hear in the Damodar Leela, especially in Kartik month where we celebrate. Krishna wants to be chastised by Mother Yashoda. Krishna wants to serve his father Nanda Maharaj, like that. So that's why Krishna wants to be subservient to devotees. That's what we are hearing as Bhakta Vatsala quality of a Krishna. So when we hear such sweet qualities of Krishna, then we not only think, oh, I need to be careful to do arti like this. I need to be careful to not offend Krishna like this. Not only like that, we want to develop love for Krishna. So we want to do something with love for him, like that. So that's what, when we read scriptures, it enables us to develop that appreciation for Krishna, that love for Krishna. So we can act in a loving way in relationship with Krishna. Now Krishna draws the chariot in the middle of both the armies, both Kaurava army and Pandava army. And then in this context, we hear word Gudakesha, where Arjuna is described as having conquered both sleep and ignorance also. And how is that possible? Prabhupada gives us the secret. By constant Krishna consciousness, we can overcome sleep and ignorance both. So ignorance means lack of knowledge. So we'll hear more about that in coming chapters. So when we actually develop Krishna consciousness, when we're constantly absorbed in Krishna consciousness, constantly thinking about Krishna, constantly wanting to serve Krishna through all our practical duties, that's so we can actually conquer sleep, conquer ignorance, and we can actually conquer lower modes and go to higher consciousness, like that. And Krishna is also described as Rishikesha, another name of Krishna in this section. That indicates him as the master of the senses. That means he already understood what Arjuna is feeling, that Arjuna is hesitating to fight. He understood Arjuna's hesitation to fight, like that. That's why he is described as Rishikesha. Another indication of word Rishikesha is also that now the Arjuna, since being the master of the senses, Arjuna will direct Krishna's senses. So that means Arjuna will win the war for sure, like that. So like that, as we surrender more to Krishna, Krishna will direct our senses. Krishna will give us intelligence to do the right thing, like that. Then finally Krishna places the chariot in between both the armies, right in front of his grandfather Bhishma, right in front of his teacher, military art teacher Dronacharya, like that. Then Arjuna sees all the relatives assembled on this side and that side, both sides, and is overwhelmed with compassion. So this section, the main thing we learnt is how Krishna is so uh, subservient, likes to be subservient to his devotees. Krishna is sweet natured in relation to his devotees. That's what we learned from this section. So going to the next section now. Now, in the last section of this chapter, Arjuna is logically thinking based on the knowledge he has acquired from authorities. Not just his thinking, maybe it's like this, maybe like that. No, he's taking the knowledge he got from the scriptures, knowledge he's got from authorities. And with that knowledge, he's speaking the reasons why he thinks you should not fight like that. So that's what we go to see here now. So, so the some of the key messages I'm highlighting in yellow. So pay attention to those key messages. One of the key message in this section is when we identify with ourselves as a body and we develop attachment for the body, then that disables us, that makes us dysfunctional in executing our religious duties, especially our ultimate duty to execute according to Krishna's will. That is one thing. When we are misidentifying with the body, then we are not able to function properly. That is the main point. Now, another point being highlighted here, another theme, that why was Arjuna bewildered? We know from at the end of this chapter, Arjuna said, "I'm not able to fight anymore, Arjuna, Krishna." Like that he says, right? Why is he saying that? Why we got bewildered like that, Arjuna? Of course, there are two reasons our acharyas talk about, two broad reasons. One broad reason is Arjuna was a pure devotee, but Krishna put Arjuna in this position so that this Bhagavad Gita can be taught to Arjuna, and through Bhagavad Gita to all of us who really need it, who really need this knowledge, so that we can apply in our life. So that's why Krishna put Arjuna in this condition. That is one way to understand it. Second way to understand it is in terms of practical terms, how Arjuna is setting an example for us to understand, which is by Arjuna is seeing in terms of his self-interest, misidentifying himself with his body, and then with that uh, vision of thinking that I am this body, then that is what is overcoming himself with fear, and he lost his composure and is not able to decide what is the right thing, and he confused what is the right thing to do in terms of moral codes also. That is the other thing we're showing here. So basically, when we act selfishly with incorrect conception, understanding and thinking that we are our body, then that will be cause for our bewilderment. That's the main principle we can learn from here. So what are some other arguments Arjuna gave to not to fight? He said, "Oh my God, I'm feeling compassionate. How can I kill my relatives, family members, elders?" Like that he's saying, feeling compassion for them. Second thing is, he's thinking, even if I fight this battle and win this battle, then how can I enjoy? So actually, I cannot show off. Oh, see, I won. Generally, material tendency is when I get something materially, some opulence, I want to show off to everybody. Oh, look, I got this. I won this prize. I got this high grade. Like that, we show off, want to show off. That's why Arjuna is thinking when everybody is dead, who can I show off? So there's no real enjoyment here. Another thing is, Arjuna want to be known as a good man, non-violent man. So if I kill my family members, everybody will say, "Oh, he killed his own grandfather. He killed his own teacher," like that. So he doesn't want to come across like that. He wants to be a good man. Another thing is, he even forgot in this bewilderment, uh, because of this blind conception of life, thinking that his material body, he forgot the source causes of material happiness also. In that purport, Prabhupada explains to us how material happiness, when somebody dies in the battlefield, in a religiously fought battlefield, he goes back to heavenly planets. Sun god specifically he describes, sun planet. And then, but he's forgetting that also. So that means something that can give material happiness also is forgetting. And if he wins the kingdom, he can actually have the kingdom to enjoy. He's forgetting that also. Like that is Prabhupada describes in the purport. Now the third reason he mentions logically is that If I kill my family members, relatives, according to Ardhashastra, political science, I actually will get lots of sinful reactions. I don't want to get so many sinful reactions. Like that is thinking. But according to Ardhashastra, actually, uh, there are 6 kinds of aggressors we heard in that purport by Prabhupada. Somebody who takes up the land, some usurps the land, somebody who um, insults the wife or kidnaps the wife, somebody who steals our property, somebody tries to put fire to our home, somebody tries to give poison. Like that, all these several reasons are given who are aggressors. According to other Shastra, they are supposed to be punished. They can even be killed like that. But Arjuna is thinking, I know better. I know Dharma Shastra also. According to Dharma Shastra, saintly persons are supposed to be nice, supposed to be forgiving. Even though others make mistakes, we're supposed to forgive as a saintly person. So let me follow Dharma Shastra, not Ardha Shastra. Like that is thinking. So that way he wants to not incur any sinful reactions, he's saying. The fourth and last reason he says is, I don't want to be the cause of destruction of the family traditions. Why? What is the problem with destruction of family traditions? That we'll see in more detail in the next slide. Let me go to the next slide. Here is describing, oh, something came in the middle of my screen. Oh yeah. How do you go to previous slide? It's not coming. Okay, good. Arjuna's arguments to fight destruction of family traditions. Yeah. Now, these are 6 stages. He gradually, sequentially explained how the family traditions get destroyed and what is wrong with that. He's saying when elderly people, if we kill all these family members, all the elderly people will die in the war. Then because there are no elder people to guide people in the family, they will not tell. Elder people will tell, oh, we need to do this every year. We need to take care of this. We need to do this festival like this. They will tell. But if they're not there, all the family traditions will stop. Then when the family traditions will stop, families will become involved in irreligion, adharma. And then when families are involved in irreligion, people don't offer protection to women, but women are meant to be protected. When they're not protected, somebody will take advantage of them and they allure them somehow, and then that will lead to pollution of women. Then when women are not chaste and they get polluted because of the circumstances, then that results in unwanted progeny. That means that's termed as Varna Shankara. And then when unwanted progeny is there, they don't follow any religious traditions. So they don't do Pindadana or Shraddha ceremony for the ancestors. So ancestors will also suffer. They will also suffer with sinful reactions later on. They will also go to hell. Not only that, when the unwanted population is there, there will not be peace in the world. There will be war, there will be pestilence, there will be hellish life in the world also. So this will result in a hellish life for the family members and also people like me who destroy the family if I fight the war. So because of this, the whole culture is destroyed. So no community projects will happen. No family welfare activities will stop like that. So I don't want to be cause of all this destruction of family traditions. Like that, Arjuna is giving the last reason here. So just to summarize, I'll go back to the first slide and we'll go back to some practical insights. So we heard that how Dhritarashtra an example to learn how not to be. Dhritarashtra is so attached to the kingdom. That's why he could not benefit from the knowledge of Bhagavata. So we should watch out for our attachments to take benefit from Bhagavata knowledge and apply Bhagavata knowledge in our life in spite of our attachment. That is one important lesson we learn. Second thing we learned is when we are diplomatic, when we don't take shelter of Krishna, then we to take shelter of diplomacy and will be fearful like Duryodhana we saw. And on the contrary, with the example of Pandavas, when they took shelter of Supreme Lord Krishna, then they did not have any kind of fear, and they were very, very confident that they will win the war. That we saw from the signs of victory. And then we saw Krishna's sweet nature. Even though he is the Supreme Lord, he is ready to serve his devotees, pure devotees like Arjuna as a chariot driver. He is a Bhaktavatsala nature. His affectionate nature towards his devotees we saw in that section. And then after that, we saw Arjuna's logical arguments based on what he heard from authorities of how he's feeling due to compassion. I don't want to fight. I don't have real enjoyment even if I fight. So let me not fight. And then he's saying, I don't want to incur sinful reactions by killing family members and relatives. And then I don't want to be the cause of destruction of family traditions. So I will not fight. Like that, that is how where we stopped. In the second chapter, he will continue with one more reason of indecision. Okay, that is a overall brief summary again for this chapter, just to give a revision for you. Now, we'll go into some of the practical lessons that we can practically apply in our life. Remember, some people think, oh, scriptures are only to get some benefit after this lifetime only. After we die, we'll go to a better place, people say. That is why scripture is there. But on the contrary, scripture is like the life manual for us. It helps us to apply the principles in this particular life, in this material world right now, right here in this life right now, so that we can be happy in this life currently and also happy at the end of this life also. That is the applied spirituality. That portion of spirituality we need to take benefit of. So that way we can be inspired, motivated to read scripture, to understand the knowledge of scripture and practically apply in our life and get benefited. That's why this section will talk about some of the practical insights. These practical insights, my gratitude is towards two of the nice devotees, senior devotees, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and another nice devotee, Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Swami Maharaj. When I send this slide deck, I'll also send you references. So if you like to go deeper, you can refer to their literature also. Literature, the websites also, you can refer to them. Yeah. But that's where these insights are coming from. Is not coming from me. Yeah. Now, so let's go to first practical insight. First practical insight is the greatest blunder or mistake of great materialist dream is neglecting the Supreme Lord. So materialist means people who think there's no God, we don't need to worry about God, we just need to do our best and we'll get everything we need. That is the materialistic thinking, especially atheistic materialist thinking. They're spending most of their time on that only. They don't want any spirituality, they don't want anything to do with the God like that. So they think they become happy when they work hard, get lots of money somehow, and then get lots of wonderful things. Then lots of wonderful people will come with the money and I'll be happy. But we can see in the practical in this world that that's not really happening. We see as the time is increasing more and more. There's so many advancement happen in science and technology. So many comforts we have, so many luxuries we have in this life. Right now I'm speaking on Zoom. Right now I'm speaking from home instead of coming to your home and talking to you. So many advancements are happening, but they have some merits. But still, if you look at psychologically, there are so many more and people are increasing with stress, depression, addiction, suicide like that. And if you look at sociologically, there's more and more corruption, there's more and more sexual abuses, there are more and more domestic violence, there are more and more violence between countries. Ecologically, there are more and more super disasters that are happening in the environment. So that is showing that this theory that we get more and nicer material things will be happy. That is not a correct hypothesis. That is what it is proving. Duryodhana is a typical character, like a prototype. Prototype means example character of all the godless materialists. And from his blunder, from Duryodhana's blunder, we can see that he did not consider Krishna factor when he's comparing the strength between both the armies. So here is the verse 10th verse of the first chapter, where he lists all the people on the Pandava side. He lists great warriors on the Kaurava side. Notice two things. On the Kaurava side, he mentions Karna. But actually, Karna was not standing on the battlefield yet, because he said, only if Bhishma is not fighting, I'll come to battlefield. But still, he remembers Karna. He mentioned Karna's name. But on the other side, even though Krishna is on the battlefield, he's not considering Krishna as significant at all. He's only considering material opulence, material weapons, material power. That only is considering. So he's ignoring the Krishna factor. That is why that will lead to defeat in the war for him. That's why he will not gain a spiritual vision. That is one thing we can learn. Now, what are we supposed to do? If we are not supposed to act like Duryodhana, if we're not supposed to think that only by material things I'll be happy, then what are we supposed to do? Then what we're supposed to do is a solution in the last line here. Basically, we're meant to develop our inner connection with the divine, with the Supreme Lord, with Krishna. With that inner connection, we can experience inner satisfaction, stability, and we can experience the strength that comes from the inner connection with the divine. Then, when we have that inner connection and strength and stability, then when others see us, our example and our words, not just the words, our example, practically how we are living, how we are happy, then when others see us, then they will also want to establish the divine connection with the divine. Then, when many people are, even a small percentage of people are trying to establish the divine connection, they will follow the devotional teachings, spiritual teachings in their life. That way, this small percentage of people will contribute to an auspicious, God-centered global destiny for everybody. Even some percentage of people practice spirituality nicely, then they can bring benefit to rest of the population also. So that's the one lesson we can learn. We should not think that only by getting things we'll be happy, but we should have the divine factor in our life to be happy here and happy after this life also. That is one practical insight. Going to the next one. This is from the 35th verse of first chapter. Basically, Arjuna started to ask all these questions. Am I going to really enjoy if I fight? Am I going to get sinful reactions if I fight? Maybe I should not fight. I'm going to destroy family traditions. So that will cause destruction, chaos in the society. Should I really fight? He has these intelligent questions. And Arjuna will see in the second chapter, he also has the courage to question those questions also. That means he's not saying, I have these questions, now I don't listen to anybody. So I got my theory clear. Not like that. So we'll explore that in more detail. Many of us sometimes ask intelligent questions about spirituality. Why should I follow spirituality? Why should I go to God? Why should I bow before God? Why should I do worship to God? Like that, we might have intelligent questions sometimes. But frequently, those questions themselves come from misconceptions and incorrect assumptions. So we need to be ready to, when we hear the spiritual knowledge, when we read Bhagavad Gita scripture, rest of the 70 chapters from Krishna, primarily we heard from Arjuna this chapter, but the rest of chapters we hear so much from Krishna. So when we hear from Krishna, we should be in the open mind to challenge our preconceptions, to challenge our assumptions that we're making, challenge our misconceptions that we might have. So when we need to be prepared from this chapter 1, that not only I will ask intelligent questions, but I'll also have the courage to question my questions itself. That means question my assumptions, questions my misconceptions also like that. So when we have that courage to be prepared to be challenged with questions by the knowledge Krishna gives, to be ready and submissive to hear the knowledge from Krishna, then we can revise our preconceptions with the Gita's world view. Gita will give the Shastra Chakshu, the vision of the world from the scripture. With that, we can really experience the transformation as we read Bhagavad Gita, the rest of the chapters. and we'll experience the empowerment, dynamic empowerment that Arjuna himself experienced also. So this way, when we have this open mind and be ready and have the courage to challenge our conceptions, misconceptions, assumptions, and our questions, then we'll progressively, as we read Bhagavad Gita and learn the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, we'll progressively realize our ultimate identity as a spirit soul and as blissful participants in a life of endless love with Krishna. So we'll realize that eternal identity of that is full of bliss and eternity. So that is what Gita, Arjuna's example is teaching us from this chapter for us, that we should be ready to be challenged by Krishna with the knowledge he gives in the rest of the chapters. Yeah, next, let me go to the next lesson. This is another important lesson. Sometimes this is a common excuse many people give. Of course, many of you are very interested and you're reading Bhagavad Gita regularly and you're also attending this session. That itself shows your investment in time here for spirituality. But generally, this is a common excuse that will help us to help others, that I don't have the time, because they think it's practically impossible to find any quality time for spirituality. Imagine from Bhagavad Gita, from Arjuna, in the first chapter we see, Arjuna was married, Arjuna was not a brahmachari, Arjuna was not a sannyasi, Arjuna has worldly responsibilities. Arjuna was running a household, Grihastha. Arjuna was looking after children. He had children, yes. And he had many wives actually. Then Arjuna had to contend with life complexities like we've seen in this chapter. Such a complexity, we can never even imagine such a complexity that Arjuna faced. Then when Arjuna told Krishna to take the chariot in the middle of the battlefield, he did not ask so that he can make a strategic plan to kill the other people like that. He asked so that he can pause, he can step back, he can reflect, he can contemplate on his life direction. So when Arjuna, on such a critical battlefield, when everybody is looking to him to see what is the first move he's going to do, who is going to attack first, when everybody is looking after him, at him, he took the time to look, to listen to Krishna, to listen to contemplate. What am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? So we all, when Arjuna took the time to reflect, introspect, and question the direction of his life at such a critical moment, we can also take some time in our life to reflect, introspect, and question the direction of our life. Even though majority of the people we see are following that life. That is one important lesson we can learn. So in life, one thing we can learn is we will not have time freely for any time, but we have to make time for those things that we understand are very valuable for us, whether it is taking care of the body with right exercise, taking care of health by going to the doctor on time, taking care of mind by giving mental peaceful time every day, taking care of mind by giving some quality journaling, quality time with friends to speak about our complexities in life, taking care of the soul with the spiritual knowledge and spiritual practices we have. Like that, we need to understand the value of them. When we understand that why, we can make time. Some things are so crucial that we need to make time. Failing to do so is not an option. There is no escaping from making time. For some of the examples given here by Keshav Swami Maharaj is, let us say we are going on a long journey. Let us say we're going on a stretch of a highway where there are no gas stations for 100 miles. We cannot ignore not filling the gas for the car. We need to fill the gas before we start. Similarly, when we need to enter an exam, we need to take time to attend classes and to take time to prepare for the exam. Otherwise, what will we write in the exam? Similarly, let us say we have a frozen pizza in the freezer. We take it out. We cannot say, I don't have time to heat it up in the oven. I will eat like that only. It will be like hard like a rock. We cannot experience the pleasure of eating a pizza. But we need to make time to heat the pizza in the oven. So like that, we all need to take courage by seeing the example of Arjuna, take inspiration by seeing the example of Arjuna, that we need to make time by understanding the value of spirituality in our life and value of introspecting, not just running. Take time to reflect, introspect on our life. And the practical insight, this is, we are trained by the world around us to think in one way all the time. But we need to take the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and learn to think differently according to the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita that we are learning every day by reading Bhagavad Gita. So one such conception, one such way of thinking, we can change, we can consider changing, is when we are coming in front of problems, leaving the problems and running away, change that thinking to learning from problems. Of course, there is a time and place for running away from problems also, but not every day, every circumstance. We need to learn from problems. So that's elaborated a little bit more by Keshav Maharaj. So I'm sharing here. So Arjuna was, in this chapter we saw how when that critical crisis came, identity crisis came for him, whether he should fight, do his duty of a Kshatriya to fight, or do his duty as a younger sibling of a grandson not to fight with grandfather. So he wanted to leave the battlefield and run away. He wanted to go to the forest. That's what we saw from this chapter. So that is a natural instinct for many of us. When we're facing problems, we want to get away from the problem. We want to avoid the problem. We don't want to deal with it. That's a natural thing that we go through. But that may not be a healthy way of facing all the problems we have. That may be one of the solutions in some situations, but not all the time. Because facing challenges in troubled time helps us to learn and grow from them. In fact, it's described, you'll hear later on, one of the lesson from karma, one of the way to avoid karma or get rid of karma in our life, bad karma in our life, is to learn from the problems we're getting. Once we learn from the problem, the same problem will not repeat in different ways again. So similarly, we're meant to learn and grow from the problems that we're encountering in our life, not try to look for external fix only all the time. So if we instinctively eject from our difficult situations, we'll never learn, we'll never evolve in our consciousness, and the same situations will appear again and again. So everything we face in our life is to rewire our consciousness, to renovate our inner world, so to grow from those problems like that. And we can take help from scriptures and mentors to understand what can I learn from this problem, what can I do in a situation like that. That's another practical insight. Going to the next one. Let me see the time. Oh, we are at 7:30. I think I have only one or two slides. Oh, last slide I have. I'll just cover this last slide, and then I'll open up for any comments you have, any feedback you have, any questions you have, like that. So the last slide is another practical insight, how to become determined. Many of the times this question comes up because we're all embarking on this new journey. This is new to us, trying spirituality. Of course, some of you are very experienced also. Some of you may be very new. So when we are embarking on a new way of life, new understandings, how do we stay determined on that path? Whether it's continuing to read Bhagavad Gita, continue to understand this knowledge and apply in our life. How do we do that? So that's possible. Determination comes when we have a vision. Then determination comes naturally. So when we know why we need to do some things, very rock solid way, then we find out what to do, how to do easily. So the why is very important for us. So we all need to find that why, that reason why we want to do something, that is very important for us. That way we can visualize what will happen when that why is reached, when that success is reached. And then that success should resonate with our heart. Then we'll get the determination. Other way to have determination is when we don't reach that goal, what are all the drawbacks that we get into? When we understand that, that also can give us a determination in terms of a negative way we want to avoid. So positive thing that we're looking towards, and the negative things we want to avoid, both will help us to gain determination. So now we are in we just completed the first chapter. In the rest of the 17 chapters, Krishna gives a beautiful, greater vision for Arjuna to aspire to, the goal he can aspire to. the adventure for all of us that we can aspire to, the journey within that we can aspire to. When we have such spiritual quest, that spiritual vision, then we get that why we need to do. Then we can have the determination to proceed in the spiritual path like that. So that is the essence of some of the insights from this section, this chapter. I'll pause here. Now I'll open up for any comments you might have or any questions you have while reading, so we can discuss. Yeah? Now the time is yours. Any comments or questions? If not, thank you so much for your association today. Let's continue reading Bhagavad Gita and try to understand whatever we can, and we'll benefit immensely just by reading this Bhagavad Gita. It's like a sacrifice for Krishna. Just by reading regularly, this will go on for one whole year. So we should be determined on this path. Let's read regularly, try to understand, and whatever we understand little bit, we can apply in our life. Thank you so much, everyone. Sri Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Harinam Kirtan Prabhu has something?
Yes, I have a question.
Oh, sure. Sorry, Guru. Yeah, go ahead, Guruji.
Yeah, just one question.
Yes.
I was just thinking about that the situation Arjuna was in. He has to fight his own relatives, own close brother, on so much. It's very difficult. If you imagine, if we have been told to kill our grandfather, our brothers. Yeah, so Arjuna is truly in a very, very difficult situation. And basically attachment, very strong attachment, very strong blood attachment.
Yes.
Similarly, I see our life is also surrounded with that. So much attachment to family, property, money, or so many things of this world. And just by Krishna enlightens him, show him the reality, he removes that illusion, and then Arjuna could see the whole picture in overall.
Wonderful
but in our
comment.
case, how do we? Krishna gives us that glimpse time to time, but we still forget again and again. So maybe you can show light, Prabhuji.
Very nice question, Prabhu. Very nice comment and question also. Yeah, the key that great devotees give us around that topic is that first of all, Krishna shows us the way. Krishna gives us the knowledge in many ways. One of these ways is through scripture, like Bhagavad Gita is giving us teachings. When we try to understand Bhagavad Gita, knowledge, practically apply in our life, like the way we discussed when we discussed the first verse today. Similarly, that is one way we can get the understanding, knowledge, and apply in our life. And we can get reminder when we read regularly scriptures. It will act as reminder, number one. Number two, we choose a devotees who have already started on this path, who already made some journey. We take their guidance. For example, I'm coming from India to USA several years ago. I talked to people who already went to US. What do you need to take? How is the weather like? What kind of clothes we need to buy? All those things we talk to them. Similarly, we can take association of devotees who are already practicing. That way they can guide us. Oh, this is how it looks here. This is how you need to overcome this obstacle. This is how you need to remember always how to overcome the attachment, like that. Like that, they can guide us. So first is reading scriptures regularly. Second is taking guidance and association of devotees who are already on this path. So like that, we regularly, and the third is very important, the principle we already talked about in this session, the contemplating, pausing and reflecting, because same situation in life repeats for us many times. So pausing and reflecting and seeing, is there any solution for this in scripture? And then if you don't know about scripture right now, we can ask the guide. What do you hear? Did you hear anything? Did you read anything? What can we do in this circumstance? What is the right thing to do in this circumstance, like that? So that's how we can get trained, and we'll remember also regularly if we have regular association like that. Makes sense,
Thank you,
Prabhuji?
Prabhuji. Very nicely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have one question, not question, Prabhu. We talked about determination, and when you have the vision, higher vision, then determination automatically there. I think my problem is having that fixed mindset, determination and consistency is where I'm struggling, even in spite of repeated lessons that Krishna is trying to teach me. How to have that vision and then be focused no matter what may come. That see that, right? Because mind is so monkey mind. It gives importance, priority to the other things than this one. So how I think that is where I think you talked about vision, and then also you talked about the second part also, that helps in keeping on the higher goal, like what is that you're going to, in a positive way and also in the negative sense, right? So can you elaborate a little bit more on that, Prabhu?
Yeah, I think you got the essence already. But essentially, as we read Bhagavad Gita, towards the next chapters also, Krishna will talk about the nature of the mind like you're describing, and how do we control the mind. That also he talks about. The two essential principles I'll mention. One is becoming the observer of our mind is one of the aspect we'll come to learn through Bhagavad Gita. That means when we get a proposal, when we think, currently we say, I want to do this, like that. So let us say mind is that is what is proposal in the mind. Thoughts, feelings and willings are originating in the mind. So when we start to separate ourselves from the mind and see, oh, my mind is proposing that it wants to do this. When you start that observing nature, then we can do something about it. But when we think, I want to do this, we can't do anything about it like that. That is one principle Krishna explains. And this can be done with Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. That means by practice and detachment, Krishna explains. That's one principle. Second principle I just now mentioned, I'll elaborate on it. Essentially, whenever we want to achieve anything in the life, whether it's material or spiritual goal, we need to have the goal clear. What is my goal? What I want to do, number one. And two, when we have that goal clear, what does that clarity means? Clarity on the goal means, first of all, we learn in the general, for example, in the office also, we learn about SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound, and all that we hear. That's all good. That makes it clear what I'm trying to achieve. But more important than that is, if I achieve that, what am I going to get? What is the benefit I'm going to get if I achieve? How does my life change? What will happen? How will I be a different person? How will I be a different person? So that one, that is called, some people call it visualizing the positive outcome of the goal, like that. So we need to spend some time on that to understand what is the benefit of getting that, number one. Because if I am getting greater benefit by doing other things than this goal I have, why would I do that? I'm getting greater benefit already. But if I think I can get greater benefit by taking this goal, then only I'll strive for it.
Yes.
That is one aspect. That means we need to understand the benefit value of this goal more and more and more and more, like that. Not just theoretically accept this is a nice thing, like that. Number one.
Okay.
Number two, if I don't get this, what I'm going to lose? That's also important to understand. If I'm not losing anything, I will not do anything. For example, if my boss says, even if you don't come to office, you can go to India for 6 months a year. I don't mind. I'll give you salary every month nicely. I don't care. I'll go to India and stay for 1 year. But if I understand that if I don't work for 3-4 days without telling my boss what am I doing, he might take me out of the job. Then I may not have, the market situation is not good now. I may not get job properly. Even if I get a job, I may not get the salary that I'm getting currently. I'll get like 1/4 of the salary that I'm getting. Then if I do that, then I need to take out my children from the college. I cannot pay for them. I need to go to a single bedroom apartment instead of a big single family home right now I have. I need to not go to India every year like I'm going now. I need to go once in 10 years to India. When we visualize the negative consequences of not achieving that goal, then also gives the push for us to strive towards that goal.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are thinking, if I don't go to office, my office will be a problem. If we don't take care of this, my wife will give me a problem. But we don't see this will, if I don't achieve this, what will happen? We don't understand that. So when we understand these two, positive inspiration to go towards it, and what is the negative consequence of not achieving the goal? When we understand this clearly, then we'll be motivated towards the goal. Then comes the confidence aspect. Then we need to develop confidence. I can really achieve the goal. There's so many people achieve the goal. This guy is dumb, but he is already there. This guy is dumb, he is already there. I can also get there. That we should get, that will confidence we need to develop next. After we develop motivation. Once we develop the motivation, once we develop the confidence, then what Harnam Kirtan Prabhu talked about, then we need to have the right environment. Right people going in the right direction. So that way, we can also go with them easily. For example, I commonly give the example, my daughter likes this example. Let us say I'm trying to avoid sweets. I don't buy 100 sweets from market and keep it in my refrigerator in home. Then there's an easy chance that I'll eat sweets. There's a negative, avoiding negative. Positive. Let us say I'm cultivating to drink water every day, so many times. Then I have to keep my water bottle right in front of me, not in the kitchen. Then I will never go. That means I need to make it easy for me to do what I want to do and make it hard for me to do what I don't want to do, like that. That is the environment aspect. In this environment aspect comes association of people who are striving for the same type of goals also, and not taking association of people who are striving for opposite goals and opposite theory in life, opposite philosophy in life, like that. So these are the three main aspects. Actually, Swayam Bhagavan Keshaswam Maharaj explained this nicely. So I took the principle from him and explained you in this answer here.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's very helpful. Thank you, Prabhu.
Welcome, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Dandavat Mataji.
So as Padma Mataji, she asked about this question, right? So we should be very clear. I mean, like, as you said, like, we should have the association of pure devotees. Otherwise, we don't know the consequences, right? To understand the consequences, we should be associated with the pure devotees.
Yes.
Right? Otherwise, we don't know.
Correct,
We
Mataji.
know
Yes.
the goal, but I mean, goal means we know. Generally, people will talk. We had to go to Goloka. That's it. But
Yes.
if you don't know if you are not going to Goloka, what are all the consequences that we don't know? That we
Exactly.
will know only from pure devotees like you, like from Guru only we can understand that, right?
Yeah, wonderful point, Mataji. I'm not a pure devotee. I'm also a practicing devotee. But wonderful point. Yeah, we all need pure devotee association. Perfect point, Mataji. Yeah.
Sometimes even we don't believe that consequences. Oh, if somebody says the building is getting fire, right? We really understand, then only we will rush. Just we will think, oh, building is it got some fire. Like then we'll just if we don't know the consequences, just we will hear and we'll be sit quiet. Right?
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful point. Actually, there's a point made by devotees in this regard. One good thing is about it, devotion service itself helps us to believe things later on. So basically, what happens is the people in three modes, later we'll find out: ignorance, passion, and goodness. People of ignorance, even if you say building is going on fire, they don't care. Oh my God, let the fire come, I'll move that time. Then mode of passion guys will think, oh, fire is coming, but let me think how I can make money. If fire comes, what I should do. But he will still stay in the building. So he distracted with that. Then he will he will also die in the fire, like that. Mode of goodness person, oh, fire is coming. Oh, that means if fire comes, this is the consequence that's going to happen. So let me get out. So that thinking about consequence and taking action comes through mode of goodness. And that is also cultivated by practicing bhakti wonderfully for our benefit.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Mataji.
Prabhuji, piggybacking on what you said, Prabhuji, I think so. The biggest challenge in the following the spiritual path is like, as you were comparing, right, the material goal and the spiritual goal. With the material goal, if you are focused, you are determined, and you know what you want to achieve, you have a clear vision and mission in mind, then you see the result very quickly, right? In a short
Yeah.
term, like if you want to aspire to become a branch, if just an example I'm giving.
Yes,
So
yes.
you can focus towards it, you can apply at numberable places, then you will get it eventually. But with the spiritual goal, the obviously you don't know, like you are going to go to Golok Vrindavan or not, right? You are just going to,
Correct.
and your aim is not to go there, your aim is to serve the Lord, right? So
Correct.
obviously you always have to keep yourself motivated, determined, and always in the association of devotees. So sometimes it becomes challenging, right? And because there is no immediate success like the way we get it in the material world, right? You work like a donkey and you can earn well, you get your salary raise and you can get a good car. That is the immediate result you get, short-term result and long-term
Correct.
result. But with the
Correct.
spiritual goal, you don't see anything, and nothing is like, everything is not, it's not tangible, right? Everything is non-tangible. Obviously you get that, obviously when you reach to that level, you have that eternal happiness, that bliss and knowledge and all that comes, but that takes lots of time to go to that and become a pure devotee. It's not like, oh, 20 years I'll practice and I'm sure to become a pure devotee. No, it does not work that way. So that is why sometimes, like when the devotees like invest lot of time, 10, 15 years, and they're not seeing that they are moving anywhere, that's the time I think so the frustration sets in. So I think so that is the biggest difference. That is why people are so captivated and motivated in leading this material life. And I think so that is what, Prabhuji, my realization is.
Oh, wonderful relation you shared, Mati. Thank you for that relation. That is what, because we see the gross result of doing something, not doing something. Gross results in terms of progressing also we see for material goals. That, whereas in spiritual goal, people don't see the gross result often.
Yes.
So, but there is solution for that also. Our devotees give. Basically, two things I want to mention. There are 2 points you mentioned. I want to address those 2 points. One was that somebody is practicing for 15 years, they don't see the result yet. That is one point we need to address. Yeah, important. When somebody is doing for a long time, they're not seeing result, they need to change something. What is that change? We need to figure out. Number one. That means, how do you figure out that? When we understand, then when we take guidance from Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, what am I doing wrong that I'm not seeing progress? That is one important principle we need to learn. Okay, number one. Going to number two. In spiritual life, actually, I wish to learn this myself. And I was thinking about a seminar some point of time, when it will happen. But basically, we need to learn in spiritual life, what are the intermediate stages. Remember, when you talked about, we know bigger goal in material life, we know intermediate goals, and we can see progress like that, tangible progress like that. In spiritual life also, believe it or not, there are intermediate steps where we can see, am I here or am I here? Am I here? We can clearly see. And believe me or not, somebody practices 1 year also, we can see whether we got from here to here or we got from there to down. We can clearly see. So we need to learn that knowledge from our scriptures, Guru and Sadhu. Then we can see, did I make progress or not? The problem we have is the mode of passion tendency, that I want 100% result. I'm at 0%, I want 100% result. I don't care if I went to 2% or 1%. But spiritual life, depending upon how many impurities we currently carry, we can see 0 to 2% improvement easily. And then 2 to 4% easily we can see. But we are expecting to see only 100% going to Golok Vrindavan. Then we cannot see. So we need to know what is the 1%, what is the 2%, what is the 3%, we can learn from devotees. Then we will be super inspired, believe me. Because every time you do something, every time you apply one principle in life, wow, this is working so nicely. I learned this from Bhagavad. Let me go back to Bhagavad. I learned from this devotee. Let me go back to that devotee to learn more. If I apply one thing, I'm getting benefit. Now let me learn 100 things and apply 100 things. Like that, will be so inspired in devotion service. That's the art of learning, that intermediate steps. But that's the important step we need to learn. This way, Otherwise, most people, like you said, because they don't think that they only think about 100%. That is why they become a mediocre devotees. I'll just do what I can. That's okay. From mediocre devotees, we need to become sincere, serious devotees. To get there, we can do Tivra Bhakti. And to do Tivra Bhakti, we need to be happy wherever we are currently. We need to recognize the progress we're making. Every 1% progress we need to recognize. Only when we recognize progress, we can grow further. For example, if I'm practicing for a marathon, that is a 25-mile marathon, unless I see the progress, I'm now able to do 1 mile without huffing, puffing. I'm able to do 2 miles without huffing, puffing. Then I cannot go next. I'll think I can never do 25 miles is too much. Somebody can do it. I cannot do it, I'll think. But by practicing 1 mile, 2 miles, we can get there. Similarly, spiritual life, Mataji. But your point is generally a perfect comment, because that's how people look at it. That's why it's our responsibility to understand what are the intermediate steps, our understanding, our responsibility with the help of a mentor or guru to understand how we are progressing, are we progressing or not, or what do we change to progress in the right way at the right rate that we want. Because the rate of progress is determined by us, not by somebody else. Because most of us cannot take a high rate of progress because we don't want to do that much sacrifice. So we have to strike balance little bit. Like it's like, I don't know if any physiotherapist is on the call, but physiotherapy also is like that. So you do, let us say I have a frozen shoulder. I cannot lift my hand like this. My hand only goes up to this. Then physiotherapist makes my hand go little bit only. That's all. Not like this. That is 100%. They'll go little bit only. I will think what will happen with this little bit? Nothing. But after 5 days, I'll see, oh, I'm able to go a little bit more. Then he will make me go a little bit more. Like that, I can go all the way here. I was amazed. in 6 months, he can fix my whole frozen shoulder just by making me do little bit without much pain. Like that, we choose our rate of growth, basically.
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One small question, Prabhu. As you said, right?
Yeah.
Oh, how do you know, like, you reached that particular step? How will you know that? Through Guru or how? I mean, like,
Yeah.
how do you know that, Prabhu?
I don't know. I use the word two steps in two different contexts. You meant the steps in growth in spiritual life. That's what you mean?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
Prabhu.
okay, good. Okay, not the other step, physiotherapy. Good.
No,
So
no.
that this step, the way to know is by learning from scriptures, by learning from devotees, guru and sadhu. These three will have different measures. For example, different scriptures have given different scales also. For example, there are 9 stages of devotion service. That is one way to look at it. There are stages about Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives Madhurya Kadambini different symptoms of anarthas that we have, like that. Basically, Srimad Prabhupada gives a simple principle. My attachment to Krishna is increasing. My attachment to material things is decreasing. Very broad principle. Like that. So many barometers are there for us to look through, Mataji. Yeah. But through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, Mataji. Exactly.
One dangerous thing is that ahankar, right? That will come. That makes us we will think like we reach that step, but we don't go, right? That really I'm worrying about, Prabhu, that ahankara. Think like
Correct.
we do some spiritual thing. Right? We thought like, hey, I reached that step. Oh, I'm great.
Yeah.
We don't know
Exactly.
whether we reach that step or not. Like that's really dangerous thing. That will automatically make you to the first beginning LKG, even kindergarten,
Yeah.
lowest
Correct, Mataji.
level, right?
Absolutely. Well,
I see.
the way to overcome that one, because all of us have that tendency. The way to overcome that is by taking guidance from a mentor who has a close relationship with us. That way, mentor or spiritual master who has close relationship with us, then they can tell us, oh, uh, basically people go in 2 directions usually. One direction is, I'm the greatest in the world. I'm a pure devotee now, like that. That is one direction they go. Then they tell, no, Baba, see, you're not able to do this. That means you're not a pure devotee yet. There's some time. They'll remind us. Some people go in opposite direction. I am useless fellow. I can't do anything. Actually, I'm not fit for devotional service. It's only fit for other people. I'm so unqualified. I'll get out of here. I'll enjoy life. That's all. Then mentor will say, no, Baba, you are actually qualified. You're chanting for 1 week. That means you have some sincerity. That way they will encourage us to go to the next step like that. That's why mentor is required for both to assess our right level like that. Otherwise, we'll assess incorrectly most of the time. Okay, any other comments or questions?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very
Thank you
nice
very much.
question and answers as well. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It was very
Hare Krishna devotees.
Hare Krishna.
See you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.